Got another German turntable to work on today. This one's by Dual, and this one's got some mechanical problems. Some of you may have seen some of these problems before, others have not. This one's got a problem with the Steuerpimple that is not, well, it's missing. There is no Steuerpimple, and that's why this one's not working. What we're going to do today is we're going to make our own Steuerpimple, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it. You don't have to order one in. They're very easy to make. Let's watch. I have a Dual 1225 turntable up on the bench today. This one came in, and the complaint on this one is it's not working correctly. So the first thing I'll do is I'll just remove the needle from the end of the cartridge here, just for safekeeping. We'll just put that out of the way. I'm going to run this one through its paces and see what happens. Oh, yeah, the cartridge just fell off on it. Wonderful. We'll just take the whole head shell off here. Snap the cartridge back in. It's the Empire cartridge, which was not latched in properly. It doesn't seem like this bracket, looks like the bracket might be bent a bit here, as the cartridge does not want to lock into place. Oh yes, the bracket is a bit bent. So these Empire cartridges, they lock in. There's a couple little tabs on either side, and they snap in like that. But this one's not, because the bracket itself is a bit bent. Of course, a bracket that's a bit bent is going to result in a cartridge that's not held true. So try and straighten this up a bit. There we go. That'll hold the cartridge a little better. Okay, let's just mount this thing here again and see what it does when I operate the mechanism. So it's not moving. And it's probably the Steuerpimple that's shot on this one. But let's take a look and see whether it is the Steuerpimple that's bad. More than likely it is. First, we'll release the mechanism from the base and turn it over. The Steuerpimple lives. Let's prop that upside down. Just keep it out of harm's way. The Steuerpimple lives over here under this control arm. A lot of times what happens on these is the mechanism gets gummed up, which this one here, yeah, it looks like it's been cleaned, but it has not been re-lubricated, but the grease gets dried up. But the Steuerpimple is a little rubber piece that fits onto the end of the Tonearm base on the lift portion of the cam, and the little rubber piece wears out. And on this one, there's not even one present. As you can see here, the Steuerpimple is missing. Don't ask me why they call that. Steuer means to steer in German. But the Steuerpimple here is totally gone, because normally it fits right on the end of this. And when this lifts up, what it does is it steers. Right, it steers over. So when the cam here lifts up, when the mechanism lifts up, as you saw what happened there, if I run the mechanism, we'll run it again here. Watch. This would normally steer it back to the left, and then when it moves back, it would steer this back to the right, and then drop it. Without that little rubber foot on the base there, it is not going to work. and this one is worn out, or this one's not worn out, it's missing. So I think what we can probably do on this is we can probably make our own using a small piece of heat shrink tubing. Let's try that. To access the Steuerpimple, we're going to remove this clip on the bracket here. Try not to lose it in the process. These are my favorite E-clips that tend to go flying if you're not careful. There we go, E-clip is off. Now I can remove the control arm to expose the Steuerpimple, which is that piece there. Now I don't have a piece of heat shrink that's, I think, small enough. This might be a little bit too big. We'll try to heat shrink it on here and see whether it will actually shrink small enough. It might. So I'm getting it hot. I'm going to give it a little squeeze here to close the top of it. Now remember, the job of this piece here is just to provide a bit of friction to move the tone arm across the record. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim off the excess. So that it just sticks up a little bit. And then we'll just put this cam back in, this control cam back into place and see whether it will, whether I've got it short enough or whether I'm too short. Let's see here. We'll put this pin back through here. I won't put the E-clip on just yet. I just want to see whether this is going to work first. Okay, it might work. Let's try it out. Remember, we're looking for the tone arm to move. I do believe that I've got it. Now if I pick the record up at the end, there it does. It moves it back, stops it. And then the record will sit down and stop. Okay, so I've now successfully made a new Steuerpimple out of a piece of heat shrink tubing. There's the piece right there that I just created. As I say, this thing doesn't need to do much. It just needs to provide a slight bit of friction, so it just has to make contact with the control arm when the control arm lifts, which it is doing. That's its only job. And the original one was just a little rubber piece. I think they call it a Steuerpimple because it looked like a little pimple basically stuck on the end of the metal rod. You can make your own with a piece of heat shrink tubing. Choose your favorite color. That's how you fix one of these that the Steuerpimple has failed. Now there's other things that we can do on this thing, like lubricate the mechanism, which I think the grease here looks okay, but I'm going to clean this gear out here, and we'll clean the gear out and put some new lubricant in there. If you guys wonder why you haven't seen any videos from me for a couple days, well, the crap that happens every year has started again. And it all goes down to Music Bakery's content. You see, another fake record company, call them that because I'm sure these people are not even legitimate, has now decided that they've now picked another track. This time they're picking the track EKG, which is one that I've used on a number of my travel videos. my road trip videos over the last 7 or 8 years. I've used this song on pretty much every one of them. I've had it in my library for many years. I bought it many years ago. Never had an issue with it, but now they're hitting me on every single instance that track has been used. And over the last 2 days, I have made 65 appeals to Orchid Music, which is now the new one. That's the flavor of the month. Orchid Music is now making a claim that they represent the artist, and it's a totally different name, like a totally different track. So the total BS that I go through all the time. Music Bakery could make this easy for all of us if they would just send YouTube a sample of all their music catalog and have YouTube put it in or bin it as the royalty-free or non-exclusive catalog of music. But I get the sneaking suspicion that probably why this hasn't been done is probably because Google or YouTube wants some type of monetary value, monetary fee to add the royalty-free content into their scanner so that they won't get picked up. Because YouTube itself they're not enforcing this claim. They're just scanning it. And what happens with these scammers is they find a piece of music and they publish it on YouTube as original content. And then what will happen is when YouTube scanners run, and they run on a regular basis, they scan everything, even old uploads that were put up years ago. They will scan them, and if they find a match, then you get a copyright match, and the person who's put the new material up that makes a claim on it then can decide, oh, I want to take all the revenue, or I want to share the revenue. I know this because as a content creator myself, when I put an upload, my material goes into a database, and if anybody tries to copy even a small portion of any of my videos, I get notification, and it comes up to me. It asks me what I want to do. Do I want to have the video taken down and issue a copyright strike, which incidentally I do. If any of my videos get copied, any portion of it without permission, I will have it taken down and a copyright strike placed against the person that uploads it. Or I can choose to nicely ask them to take it down without giving them a copyright strike. That's the second option. The third option is I can enter into revenue stream sharing. So if they're getting a lot of hits, I can take a portion of the revenue, or I can choose to do nothing and let whoever has stolen my work continue to steal my work. I do that in some cases. If I've done a review for a company, for example, and they want to put it on their website, or they want to link to it on their site, I will allow that to happen if they've given me some free product, which I've done in the past. If a company has given me something like, I don't know, say a goodie free projector that's worth like $500, yeah, they can use my video to promote their product on their own sites. That's fine, because I've basically been paid by them by means of them giving me material or giving me a product. They've basically bought the rights to use the video. But if somebody else just takes one of my videos and puts it up on another channel, it'll get taken down pretty quick. That's the options. So this is what these clowns are doing, is they're making claims on music that they don't even have the rights to, because it's non-exclusive music that's licensed by Music Bakery. They're making these claims and taking the revenue, and then I have to waste my time to go through and find the music, and then I have to go and find my license from Music Bakery, because I do have the documentation, because I purchased it all. I have to go and dig up my license information and supply that, which doesn't go to YouTube, incidentally. People think that YouTube makes the decision. No, YouTube doesn't. They just take the information that I supply them and they send it back to, in this case, it's Orchid Music, and then Orchid Music has to turn around and either challenge it or drop it. And they always drop it because they know that they're in the wrong. As soon as they get a link to the music on Music Bakery's site, where they can click on that link and they can hear the music playing, because you can listen to samples, and they see my site license from Music Bakery, they always release the claim. But it's just a hassle because I have to do the work. No one else is going to do the work for me. I have to do the legwork to prove that I have the rights to use it. And when I'm doing that work to prove that I have the rights to use the music, I'm obviously not repairing equipment and producing videos. So that's why you haven't seen anything from me for a couple days. Now, I should point out the last time that this crap happened, Music Bakery actually got involved, and that particular song that was being claimed so many times no longer gets claimed. So what happens is these fraudsters just move on to another one. And I guess, you know, they should probably be flattered that people are stealing their music, because you know, when you've got a good product, and they certainly have a good product as far as their production quality goes, that's when you get the crooks stealing their content. So we're cleaning out this track of this gear. This gets all gummed up with this dried grease, and especially in around here, for example, it causes it to stick, and then they do unpredictable things. So I just want to clear all this dried grease that gets very sticky. We want to try and wipe off as much of this stuff as we can. Now, the bearings haven't seized up, I don't think, on this one yet. So whether I'll take this all apart, I don't think I'm going to bother. I'm just going to wipe it down and put some new grease on it, because they haven't seized up. Sometimes these ones seize up completely and this mechanism does not move at all, but there's no indication that it's gotten anywhere near that state. So I think I can get away on this one just by lubricating each of these points. We'll put some oil on these points and into the bearings. If you get to it before, looking at that motor, it's an AM400, this one. I don't know if that one had a problem. I don't think this one had the same problem that some of the others did. Some of these motors would start up at like twice the speed. Anyway, if you get to this and oil these pivot points before the lubricant in them dries up, that's a pivot point here and here and here and here. If you can get to these pivot points and just put a drop of oil on them before they actually seize up, then you can prevent them from seizing up and you don't have to take it all apart. If this gets to the point where none of this moves and this is all gummed up, then at that point you basically have to, that one's okay, you have to then start taking things apart and really going to town on lubricating them. And that's what I'm debating right now, whether I should take all the E-clips off and take this apart. I think we're probably okay, but I'm going to get the oil can out and we'll go through and check them out. I should also point out that Steuerpimple that I just made with the piece of heat shrink tubing, they're available. You can buy them. I don't have any, so I changed one recently on a customer's unit because he had one, so I used the one that he already had. They are available if you want to order one in, but as you just saw, you can make one yourself. There's really nothing to them. Okay, this should pop out of here. Oh, gotta take another little E-clip off over here. I hate these things. They call these things Jesus clips because that's what you end up saying when they go flying, never to be seen again. But that's how they come off. Okay, so this one here, we're okay on this bearing is okay. I'm going to wipe it down with some alcohol, just some isopropanol alcohol, and then we're going to put some new lubricant on it. Even though this hasn't gone bad on this one, this belongs to a paying customer, so he's paying to get it overhauled, so we're going to wipe it all down, take off all the old dried up lubricant, and re-lube the critical points on this one that go bad.
You guys didn't see that. Okay, reinstall the E-clip. That, by the way, is the start and stop lever. So I have to release this because it's already in mid-mechanism, otherwise it'll lock it out. But that's the start and stop lever. Normally it sits there, right? And when you flip it either to start the record or stop the record, it goes one way or the other, and that's just what releases the it releases the mechanism. And what this lever here does, so as I was trying to explain there when you couldn't see it, this is the start and stop lever. Okay, what it does is it moves this arm back and forth right here. What this arm does is, as the cam gear rotates, it either flips this lever one way to end the record and drop the tone arm, or it flips it the other way, which allows the cam to follow. Like it controls the cam, whether the cam's going to move into the record like this, or whether the cam's going to stay on the outside. So I think that's stop. That's the stop position as it kicks the arm back to the outside of the record. It holds it to the outside and drops it. And when this one flips the other way, the cam follows into the inner groove here. This is what moves the tone arm over the record groove and drops it on the start of the beginning or the start of the record. And of course, once it does that, the cam actually resets that. So all this lever does is this lever just flips it this way to start the record, or leaves it that way to stop the record. That's all that little lever does. So we're going to put a bit of lubricant on here, and we'll put some lubricant into the cam itself. And that, I think, probably is all this thing needs. All the other ones look to be good. These ones have got good lubricant on them. I can see them. These other ones here look okay. I don't see any other problems with this unit. So we'll lubricate this gear and then give this thing a test fly. That's the speed selector over here. See, this is all moving nicely. What this arm does here, this arm changes the position for the 12-inch record or the 7-inch record. This is the tone arm here. As the tone arm moves over, as you can see, as the tone arm moves over, we'll just release it here. That hits that groove there, or that stopper, at the 12-inch position, or if it's this one, it goes further down so that it'll hit the 7-inch position for 45 RPM records. So that's all that does. And this is moving freely. That's moving freely. This one was moving freely. I've lubricated it, so it shouldn't have a problem. So let's just grease the gear here. So I'm just going to put some Molykote grease down into the control cam groove. Don't worry, that's not my phone ringing. Once I rotate the cam a couple times, it will spread the grease out. You don't want too much, because too much is just going to attract dust and dirt. Even though it's on the underside, it will still get dirty and attract dust, which will, in the end, cause you more headaches. So just a little bit of grease, as the saying goes, too much grease is worse than not enough. So let's flip this thing over now and give it a test run. So reseat the turntable, or the mechanism into the base. I've connected up to my stereo, and we'll see how it sounds with that cartridge that's with it. Okay, let's try it out. Actually, looks like it's moving a little too fast there just by looking at the record. Yeah, it's going a little quick. Let's check the pitch out. The pitch control appears to be non-functional, so let's pull the turntable platter off and check out why the pitch control is not working. This one's got a little belt on it, if I'm not mistaken. Is this held in place? Yes, this one does have a clip on it. Some of them people take the clip off and lose it. Basically what you want to do is you want to work the clip around until the clip gets to the end, so that you can dig underneath it and pull the clip out and get your screwdriver underneath the end. I'm putting my finger over top of it so it doesn't fly away, by the way. But we just want to get the end to the split here, and that way I can grab it and pull it out of the way like that. That's how you avoid losing these clips. Otherwise, they are going to fly away, never to be seen again. Let's take a look at what how the pitch control works on this one. And it's not doing anything. Where is it control, this one? This is the tire drive unit, and the tire is a little too low. This should be raising and lowering this thing slightly, and it's not. So once again, we'll pull the chassis out. I'll take the needle out of the way so it doesn't get damaged. So we're going to pull the chassis out and look underneath and see why this is not working. Well, it appeared that the actual control mechanism, that when you turn the pitch control, you're raising up and down this little gear slightly, and it was stuck. Now it's unstuck. It doesn't appear to be gummed up or anything. It was stuck in the down position. I just kind of wrote like this. It was stuck like that, and it wasn't doing anything when you turned the pitch control, and I just gave it a bit of a push and it moved, and now it's working. So whether it's just a bit of grease that was dried and it froze there, but it's not stuck anymore. So I think I'm going to leave it at that rather than take this piece all apart. I could take this apart, but I'm going to have to take the idler off to do it, to get into here. And now everything appears to be good. There's also an adjustment here, which is your core speed adjustment, which you adjust with an Allen key. So we can tweak that and adjust this to get the speed exact when it's in the center. So let's turn the thing around again and try it out a second time. That noise you hear in the background, believe it or not, it sounds like a jet engine. That's my car. It's charging. It's very hot out today. It's over 30 degrees, which is unusually hot here. And the battery is charging. And we just hear the fans all ramping up to cool the battery. Which brings up another point on electric cars. I was just reading an article. Might as well talk about this now. But, also I found the little nut on the bottom of the queuing lever is missing, so it allows the queuing lever to come out, but I don't have a nut small enough for that, so I guess I may have to just leave that as it is. It works, it's just that it will pull out if you're not careful. Anyway, I was reading an article that was published by one of the car magazines about electric cars and how people were claiming that they aren't as energy efficient and they draw more power when they're charging than they say. Almost like there was a conspiracy to lie about how much. You see, the article went on to say about how the onboard computer says you use so many kilowatts for a trip, but then when you charge your car up, it takes more than what the onboard computer takes. And what the writer of the article, who obviously has no background and doesn't have any business writing articles about cars that he knows nothing about, what he failed to realize is that a battery management system has to cool the batteries when they're charging, and that turns on the air conditioning system, the heat pump, and the HVAC system, basically, to cool the battery. And that, of course, takes power, which gets added to what is consumed during the charge. So it's not just if you use 15 kilowatts of energy in the battery to make a trip, it's going to take maybe 16 and a half to replenish the battery, because you got to factor in everything else. But that's something that this writer failed to mention. You can hear it running in the background. The battery management system is cooling the battery down. That'll run like that as the battery recharges to keep it cool. Here we go. Clip it back in. So we're going to check the RPM rather than use my strobe disc, which of course is accurate, but I don't have any lights right now that are capable of working it. I don't have a magnetic ballast fluorescent handy. I'm going to try one of these little apps that you run on your phone that will tell you the speed and how close you are to the correct speed. So with this I can set the speed to 33.3, which is 33 and a third. That time's good. There. That's usually where it skipped. We hit that little so maybe some debris in there that would kick the groove out or kick the needle out of the groove, but it's working now. Okay, that's it. Dual 1225 missing Steuerpimple. That's how you make one out of a piece of heat shrink tubing. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one real soon. Bye for now.